Hey guys, how's it going? It's Josh here, and today I'm going to be doing something which a lot of you guys have been asking for. I see all the requests and stuff like that come in all the time, and you guys, seems like everyone wants a tutorial. So today, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going over a piece that I put together, and we're going to cover the line work and concepting stage in this video, and then I'm going to do a part 2 video, which is going to be all about the color portion of the piece. So just so you know, I mean, this one doesn't really have a lot of meat to it because obviously the line working is really just all about practice and drawing. But the color portion will definitely probably have a little bit more substance to it. But yeah, hopefully you can still get something out of this, guys, and it helps you out a little bit. So sit back and enjoy. So the piece I'm going to be working on is a creature design, and a lot of you guys have seen that I've been doing a lot of that stuff recently. And today I'm going to be working on one. Now, the ideas and the concepts that I take here can be obviously applied anywhere. So if you're doing characters, it's not really going to matter. You can take the same sort of principles and apply them with whatever piece you're working on. So you can see that I wanted to start with a rhino here. So what I did, that was the creature that I wanted to base it around. So I picked up some pictures of a rhino and start basically just concepting a rough shape. And you can see how rough it is. This is actually real time, so you can see, I'm taking it fairly fast and it's fairly messy. I'm just getting the basic shape of the rhino in there. So filling it out a little bit here. And then once I'm happy with what I've got here, I can say, okay, now I can start to have a play with it. So I shrink it down and then I start playing with things. So I start increasing the horn size. I start, adding teeth. And again, it's all very messy. This is sped up a little bit. So add extra horns here, ears, hair, all kinds of stuff. So let's change the horns, put them up here. Change the overall shape of the body. And you see that I'm playing around and looking for something that, that I like the look of. Now, this process here is actually a lot shorter than what I usually take. Usually I will concept something a lot more, and then I'll take one or two ones that I like, pull them down, pull out bits that I like, maybe combine them and then concept them, maybe another 10, 15 times, just come up with different ideas. You can see here that I keep mucking around with things, moving eyes and horns, and when you're cartooning and you're taking a shape like this, you want to be looking to emphasize various parts of the body. So you can see that jaw I really emphasized down the bottom, and the little lip as well. But yeah, once I'm happy with it and I sort of like the general sort of rough that I have done underneath, I'll start doing the line work, which is what I'm doing here. Now, while I'm working on this piece, I am keeping in mind that I wanted to really sort of add an extra element to this one here. I didn't want it to just be another creature. I wanted to step it up a little bit. So the whole entire time I'm thinking of ideas on what I can add in, which will sort of really change it up. And you'll see what I did at the end. I intentionally haven't shown the final piece in the thumbnail or at the start of the video because I just want you guys to see how my thought pattern sort of went along the process. But yeah, so you can see I'm just sort of tracing over the lines, cleaning things up a little bit. This is actually not the final lines. You'll see that this is actually another sort of rough layer underneath. I'll usually do 2 or 3 roughs depending on how the image is starting to flow. I think I find here that I wanted to add a little bit more in. I wasn't entirely happy, so what I'll do is coming up you'll see me sort of drop this down underneath and then start going over the top again. Here we go. So how many passes you do on yours is completely up to you, and it really does depend on the piece as well. This one has quite a bit of detail in it, so it did require a little bit. And you can see here that I now I'm starting to get some ideas, starting to add in some sort of metal plates and stuff like that. My whole entire thinking for this piece was sort of sci-fi, steampunk sort of vibe. So I'm just trying to come up with a few ideas in my head, and that's probably the best way to do it as well. As you're working, you can just think on your feet and draw inspiration from anywhere. So yeah, so as you can see, changed it to, it's got one big eye here. And it's just little things like that, adding in extra eyes, moving horns, teeth, all sorts of stuff like that. So I'm going to speed things up a little here. This is normal speed art speed, so the stuff that you usually see on my channel. This is about the speed at which it goes. So you can sort of see the difference. Before it was increased quite considerably. I think the overall time for the piece was probably about an hour and a half from concept to the final design that you see at the end. Even the end piece, I'd still want to tweak a little bit, so I'll probably be working on that for a little bit longer, maybe an extra half an hour before I take it to the color stages. So around about here, guys, you'll start seeing me come up with a few ideas. I'm wanting to play around with sort of some sort of jaw piece, some sort of, bionic sort of add-ons here. So it is really sort of random and from a weird place in my brain. But this is how it can go. Sometimes you can have ideas on the fly. So with this piece here, I sort of take a rough and then sort of go straight over it. In actual fact, if it was, for this example, it's fine. However, generally, I probably would play around with a few more concepts with this just to alter things a little bit. I think looking back at it, there's a few things that I would have changed, but yeah, you can sort of see it starting to come to light here. Now, I've done this on a separate layer, so I can just, tone the opacity down a little bit and then start to draw over it. So I'll just let this roll through. There's not really too much to talk about in terms of how I work. I mean, I use just a plain sort of standard brush, which has a slight angle on it. A lot of you guys ask about that quite often, and I can tell you right now the settings for my brush. It's just a plain brush with an angle of 138 degrees and a roundness of 28%. Now, for some of you that may be familiar, that is in fact the brush that JB from JBDrawing uses. Sorry, it's I'll put his channel in the description, and you can actually head over to his channel, and he has a link on all of his videos to download his custom brush sets, and it is one of those. So please do go check out his stuff. Amazing, very very talented artist, and I always worked with a round brush until I saw his brush set and just tried using the little angle, and you'll see that slight angle really does make a difference. So credit to JB for that. It's not my idea, and yeah, so I'll put a link in the description below, and you can go check that out and download that brush pack today. But other than that, it is just a brush with the eraser to fix up all the mistakes. Now, there's no real secret to this. There's no secret to being able to draw. It is just actually practice, so I can't really give any tutorials on that. But you can see that use multiple layers if you can, especially if you've got some things like this where I'm sort of overlaying it over the top, and then you can erase underneath it. And then it's always easy to just merge it down. Don't be afraid to use multiple layers, and you can see here I'm doing the same thing. Just watch the layer palette on the right, and you can see when I sort of add one over the top. But overall, that's pretty much it. Now, attention to detail is something which can really take a piece from being sort of, okay, mediocre to, the next level. So adding in these little sort of edging here and there, the little, little lines on the hose and the little lines on his skin and the little circles and stuff like that. So do keep an eye out on that, and try and you'll start to get an eye for that sort of thing. Adding it in can really, really sort of bring your drawing to the next level. So yeah, that's definitely something that I tell people when I sort of do lessons and stuff like that. That's one of the most important parts. Never say that the image is finished. Always see if you can add in little extra bits and bobs, whether it not be extra detail, but improving upon the stuff that you already have there. Also, the other thing that I recommend is when you finish a piece, walk away from it for at least 5 minutes or so you can come back and have a look at it with some fresh eyes. Because when you've been drawing something for an hour or so, you won't see the obvious mistakes. And, I think that's something that happened here as well. After sort of recording this and then going back to it, there's a few things that I want to fix. So yeah, so in terms of why I would concept this, this gas bottle here is a classic example. I probably would have changed the angle on this a little bit and moved it around. I like the concept of it, but I wasn't really happy with the positioning of it, but that's okay. So yeah, so I mean, there's not too much to talk about, as I said, in terms of line work. It really is just getting down there and doing it. It's one layer on top of a colored background. A lot of people ask why I've got this sort of textured background, or what's with the orange and the in the layer underneath. It is honestly just because I don't like working on white. So I have a nice brush that I add a little bit of orange and yellow to and stuff, and I just slap that on the bottom, and I don't know, I just find it nicer to work. It's definitely not a necessity at all. So see me here trying some things, then I find it it doesn't work. So you just scrap that, roll back, and get crack back into the other things. I'll add a grill down here, add in those little extra bits of detail. As I said, it's it can really sort of step the piece up a little bit. Now, but yeah, so once you're sort of done with this, and which we're going to be done very soon, you'll see the final piece. I'll move to the color stages. As I said, I'm going to cover that in another video. We'll go over the color choices, what options we have with color palettes, talk a little bit on color theory, and then the process that I take when I start to color. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this, and hopefully you got something out of it. I know there wasn't too much, but hopefully it showed sort of the process that I take. Please, if you're looking for more stuff, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Facebook. Both of them, I only probably put about 10% of the stuff that I do up on YouTube. So if you're not on the Facebook or the Twitter, you're missing out on a bunch of other content as well, which you may enjoy. I'll put the links for those in the description below. But other than that, guys, that's it for part one. So take it easy, and I'll see you guys next time.